Okay, here we go. So, here is the bird netting. The bird netting, and here's the PVC piping or tubing, I should say. This is roughly, I don't remember, I think it was about 3-inch diameter, 4-inch. I'll have to get back to you on that. But anyways, so what you do is go ahead and grab this rod right here, push this in, there you go. So, and then the next step is that you'll grab the next shield, right? And here's a close-up of it. And this guy, you turn it so it can lock itself on the rod. Turn this guy back over here. Put that right there. Okay. The second thing you want to put on is your sliding hammer. This guy goes over here. I moved the screw down, so I'm just moving it back out so I can actually put it in. There we go. Set it there. And then the next thing is your bearing. And as you can see maybe from the shot, it's tied to the bearing and then also tied to this. So when you knock it off to take all this out, it's not just going to fall on the ground, right? So go ahead and lift this up, get it in there. You just give it a few taps. Okay, that's it right there, right? So as soon as you slide this in, slide it in, this is touching with the netting, that is touching with the netting over here, and then you go ahead and tighten this down, the lock's on the side, and that prevents this from moving. That's the same thing with this one over here. There's a lock on the right side on the other side. And then here, so this doesn't move around, go ahead and lock it down. And it does not need a lot. You can just, as soon as the bolt, when you're screwing it down, as soon as the bolt touches the metal, just give it like 1/8 of an inch turn. That's all it needs. So, just like that. Okay. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and pull out the netting, and then I'm gonna turn it on and show you how you roll it up. All right. So I'm gonna move this a little bit. I think I should put you guys in a better position here. All right. So one of the things I do before I pull this out and it free flows, I loosen the tension back there on the motor, and I will give you a close-up of that. But let me just do it right now. So what I did is that there's a belt there, and I loosen the tension. That way when this rolls, it's not rubbing the belt and wearing it out. So this guy goes through here. It's like the little circular roller right here, right? Be right back. Okay, so setting up the scene, right? So you have this out in your vineyards, and you just took the netting off of the wine trees, right? And you put it on the ground. And now it's time to roll it up. So here we are. You know, and of course, when you start rolling this up, you grab a little bit of the netting, you put it in through this guy right here, and then you roll it on the pipe, and you give it a couple turns, right, so it can actually grab onto itself, and then you turn it on. So what I'm gonna do now, let me just position you here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the handle, and move. You can go forward, left or right. That way you can properly distribute the netting all over the PVC pipe, yeah? So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Just like that. So, let me give you a close-up here. So, the first feature when it comes to this handle is that as you're moving this back and forth, right, you're gonna do some wear. The wear is happening right here where the cylinder is, and then it's rubbing on this solid round slug. So what I did is that I put this brass, it's called a plain bronze bearing is what it is, and it's in there, and so over time it's going to wear out, and it's meant to wear out first rather than actually wearing out the steel on steel, because that's what you don't want. So once that guy, the bronze bearing, gets worn out, you replace it, put a new one in, and then you're good to go. If something were to ever happen, like say this whole rod gets damaged somehow, right? I went ahead and put some set collars. Move you over here a little bit. Right here, these collars, there's one on this end and one on that end. You can take it off, and then you can take this out and then put a new one in. So that right there you can go ahead and repair, and it's easy if you have to. The other thing is too, is this whole, the netting distributor, right there, you got 2 bolts, right? If something were to ever happen to this, you know, or for transporting, you can take it off. That way you can make it easy to do, and then put it back on when you need to. Moving on over here. So this is one of the pulleys, and it's about 13 3/4 diameter. Yeah, 13 3/4 inch diameter. And you have these guys down here. I'll give you a close-up. So you got one pulley right here in the middle, and then you got another miniature one right here. Yeah, and then you have 2 bearings that are holding this shaft, which is this bearing right here, and then there's another bearing right over here on this side, and I'll give you a close-up in just a little bit. So this system right here, or excuse me, one more pulley right back here where the engine is, right? So anyways, like I was saying, this system is meant to make this go slow when it turns, the netting, right? That way you're not running at 30 miles per hour, you can go at a walking speed, and this system right here is what helps me achieve that speed. Also right over here, this is what I was talking about when I meant about loosening the tension, right? So you have this huge handle right here. So like I was saying, what you do is that you take out this pin, right? And this is how it works. You just pull this out like this, and then you go ahead and pull it out just like that, right? And then what you can do is that this whole, I don't know how that got there, this whole plate right here will lift this up, and it will loosen up the tension off of this. And watch, I'll lift it up and you guys will see that, and then I put it back down, right? So when you need to roll this netting by hand, like say roll something out, or just like have this running freely, manually, you want to loosen the tension first, and then when you're ready to use it, put the tension back on. Anyway, so this has some rubber grommets at the bottom right here, and then where this is mounted to at the bottom of its 4 bolts also has rubber mounts, and the purpose for that is so all the vibration gets taken by the rubber mounts. Otherwise this whole thing would be shaking all the time. It would be just ridiculous to work with. So here's a close-up of the bearings. So there's a bearing right there and a bearing right here. Over here I have turnbuckles, these guys, and they're made out of stainless steel. Also, by the way, the bearings, those are made out of stainless steel as well, so you don't have to worry about it rusting. This helps just for stability, and it's the same thing because this thing is a bit lengthy, it's a bit tall. I added a little more stability with this because of all the shaking of the motor. All right, and they do help out. So there's 2. I mean, there's 2 of these. So one over there, and then one right here. And this guy, what this does is that, so if you ever need to move this around, or you need to pull it with your quad, right? It might tilt a little bit. So what you do is that you loosen this up, and this will drop down. And when you're ready to go and you just set it up, you know, you just gotta, you need to make it stable. Then you just go ahead and drop this right here. You drop this to wherever length that you want, or as soon as it becomes flat, and then you turn this, you know, clockwise, and then you can go ahead and tighten it down, and it just stays put, right? This whole thing stays put. The other thing too, just like the netting distributor, right? It's got those 2 bolts there. This also has 2 bolts. Same thing. Something happens, gets damaged, you can go, or you need to transport it, right? You can go ahead and take off those 2 bolts and repair it, and then put it back, or whatever it is, whenever you're done. Same thing with this in the middle here. You got this. This is also to stabilize everything, right? So you got this whole rod all the way to here. Both sides have 2 bolts. Again, you can take it off for whatever reason. So on this side, right, when you need to take out the netting, right, you go ahead and loosen this right here. And I'm trying to do this with one hand. So you go ahead and loosen that up, right? And then you pick this whole thing up, right, out of the way from the studs, and then you go ahead and smack it, smack until this guy falls off. And not to worry, you have this right here, so the bearing doesn't hit the ground, right? And then after, you know, you take this out, you take this out, and then you can go ahead and take that out, and then you can get your netting. So I did it this way because one, this is aluminum, right? You don't want to be hitting anything hard when it comes to bearing housing. So this won't ever break if aluminum's hitting it, yeah? And then that's much better than using a hammer to smack this bearing off every single time. You know, it's just not, I don't think that's a good idea. So this is galvanized. The braided wire is galvanized steel, and then these right here are stainless steel. And as I said earlier, these are stainless, the bearings, and then this is aluminum. So you don't have to worry about that rusting. The bolts right here, the bolt and the rod here that holds that down is also stainless steel. I didn't go everything stainless because I'm trying to keep it under a budget, because it does get expensive. The next thing too, all the bolts that hold these on that I was mentioning, those are all stainless. And anything you see that's orange is steel, but I painted it, you know. And then right here you got your quad, so you can hook up to the quad and pull it right as you go from aisle to aisle, rolling up the bird netting. So you go ahead and, you know, you can go ahead and take this pin out. All right. Let me actually, hold on one sec here. I'm trying to do this one hand here. take this out, right? So you got that, and then you can move it in different heights. So, you know, wherever you need to go, you go ahead and put it there, you know. So let me just go ahead and put this, well, I can't really do it right now, I got one hand here. So anyways, you get the idea. You can move it up and down right here and then put the pin in for whatever height you're at. And then the other thing here, the tires, these are non-flats on both ends, right? And I also put a lock collar right here and then a lock collar over here, and they're both greasable. The other thing I did too, or a part that I missed, I should say, for the motor, is that when you go back here, you see that there's a rod, this rod right here, that if something ever happens to the motor, you know, you need to work on it or whatever, you can go ahead and grab this guy, pull the rod out, and then you can take the motor off. One more thing, say for example, you're using the bird netting roller, and then the motor fails on you for whatever reason, right? There's a plan B. So this is the plan B right here. Let me just set you here because I need both my hands. Okay, so this is plan B, and I'm gonna get you a close-up here. So it's got a pin, and this pin is also stainless. This whole handle is also stainless, so you gotta worry about that rusting. So you pop this off, right? Let me start again. It's like that, right? Then you go ahead and pop it off like this, pull it out, and right here there's a hole on the rod. Yeah. So what you do is that you set the rod in here, like so. You go ahead and grab the pin. And then you lock it in place, like that. So now you got your handle, right? So now, you know, you can go ahead and spin it. And as I said before, you know, loosen the tension on the belt, but right now I'm just gonna do it a few times so I can just show you guys. So motor fails, you still need to roll some netting. Here you go. You know, you got a manual turner, so you can go ahead and get the job done still, right? What else? Let's see. I believe that is it. I have shown all the details. This belt is not common. You don't see it often. At least I don't. It's an adjustable belt. You see the little links right here? Each one of these links, this whole one right here is one link. This is another link right here. If this ever stretches out, you can take a link out, and they look like this by themselves. You can take a link out, and then you can make it shorter, right? If for whatever reason you need to make this longer, you can grab another link and put another one in to make this longer. Both of these belts are like that. This belt right here, and then this belt right here. So that's a detail that I forgot to miss. Also, the bolts that hold down the bearings are stainless steel as well. So bearings are stainless, this is stainless. And then what I did is I also added a bunch of anti-seize to all the steel pulleys and the set screws that hold these guys down. That way you guys don't have to worry about rust for a long time. So the maintenance that is required by the owner is that you grease the bearings. So there's fittings. Oh, let me get you a shot here. There's fittings right there, and there's fittings right there. I did pre-grease all of these, and all the ones over here too. These guys too. So you don't gotta worry about that. But you do have to maintain that. Yeah, that was the last detail I believe that I had. So anyways, if you guys have any further questions, please feel free to contact me and ask me any questions. Text me, call, leave a message. I will put my Facebook business page on the description, and hope to hear from you guys soon. Alright, you guys have a good one. Bye.